In this video, we're going to look at how to solve a system of linear equations by graphing them. Now, a system of linear equations is whenever you have two or more lines on the same coordinate plane. And the solution to the system is where the two lines intersect. So if I have two lines that intersect here, this point, 0, 3, would be the solution. If I had two parallel lines, these two lines never intersect, which means there is no solution for this system. On the other hand, if I have two equations that end up being the same line, there's infinitely many solutions. So let's talk about how to solve a system. So let's say I had the equations y equals 2x minus 2 and the equation y equals negative x plus 4. What I would do is graph both equations. So starting with negative 2, I go down 2, and my slope is 2 over 1. So up 2 over 1. Or I can go down 2 and left 1. Now, it's probably a good idea to do multiple points, just to make it easier when you go to actually see where they intersect. For the other equation, I'm going to go up 4, and then my slope is negative 1. So remember, negative slopes, positive slopes slant up and to the right, negative slopes down and to the right. So my negative slope of 1, negative 1 means I go down 1, right 1. And it intersects there. So if I go ahead and draw, well, let's try and draw a straight line here. This point here where they intersect is the solution, and that answer is 2, 2. So the point 2, 2 is a solution to this set of linear equations. Now, you can also use a graphing calculator. If you go into a TI-84 calculator, if you go and hit, let me clear that out real quick. If you go and hit y equals, then you can put your two equations into y1 and y2. And negative x plus 4 is my other one. Now, there's two ways you can get an answer. One is by looking at the table. And if you look down here, at 2 for x, both y1 and y2 are also the same number. Whenever you have y1 and y2 with the same values, that is where your answer is. You can also look at your graph. If you go second trace and select number 5, enter for the first curve, enter for the second, enter again to guess. It'll give you the intersection. So you can also graph it like this. Now, let's talk about what to do if your lines are not in slope-intercept form. So let's take a look. I'm going to write them down here. 2x minus 3y equals 3, and negative 4x plus 6y equals 6. What I would have to do is put these into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to go where I have some empty space here. And 2x minus 3y equals 3, negative 4x plus 6y equals 6. So let's take these and put them into slope-intercept form. On this one, I start by subtracting 2x from each side, giving me negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 3. Divide by negative 3 from each term to get y equals positive 2/3 x minus 1. So 2/3 x minus 1. If I go and graph that, it goes down 1. And 2/3 x means I'm going up 2 over 3. Up 2 over 3. Or I can go down 2 over 3. So now let's look at the other one. For this one, I would add 4x to both sides, which gives me 6y equals 4x plus 6. Then I divide by 6 to get y equals 2/3 x plus 1. Well, I can tell you right now they're parallel, which means there's not going to be any solution. But let's go ahead and graph it anyway. So 2/3 x plus 1 means I go here and then go up and over, or down and over. So I get two parallel lines that never meet. Okay, so let's look at a couple more. Alright, if I give you, let's see, 2x minus 3y equals 3, and x plus 2y equals 5. Subtract 2x from both sides to get negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 3. Oh, this is almost like the other one. In fact, this first equation is the other one. So I get positive 2/3 x minus 1. But this one is different. So when I subtract x from both sides, I'm going to get 2y equals negative x plus 5. Divide by 2. And I get y equals negative half x plus 2.5. So 2/3 x minus 1. So down 1 and then up and over, up and over. Okay. So there's one line. Now the other line, let me peek, I forgot what it was. Negative half x plus 2.5. So I'm going to go up 1, 2.5, and it's a negative slope of down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. Now, this one doesn't match quite as well. It's hard to tell. It looks like it might be this line, but let's be sure. I'm going to put it into the calculator. So I had 2/3 x minus 1. And then for the other one, I had negative half, well, might help if I don't forget the negative, negative half x plus 2.5. So it looked like it was maybe where x was 3. Oh, and it is. So even though it was halfway, it still did match up. But if it ever does something like this where your point doesn't exactly match up and you're not sure, double check it. Another way you can check your answer is by plugging 3 in for x and 1 in for y and see if it matches up. So what I'm going to do is, like for this one, 2/3 times 3 minus 1, and see what it gives me. Well, 2/3 of 3 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, so that one checks out. Over here, if I do negative half times 3 plus 2.5, well, half of 3 is, negative half of 3 is negative 1.5, plus 2.5 would be 1. So that one checks out as well. So if in doubt, check your answers. Alright, so again, remember, if you end up with two lines that cross, there's one answer. If you end up with parallel lines, which have the same slope, it's no solution. It's a null set. But if it is the same line, it means there are infinitely many solutions. All right.